Well, if you're selling on Amazon and you wish you were doing more sales, the chances are you need to improve one of these core metrics that we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be diagnosing struggling Amazon listings so you can have an action plan of how to improve your sales from here on in. All right, let's go. Welcome to the channel today. Hope you're doing really well. If you're someone that wants to grow a business that frees them up to live a life they dream of, then make sure you are subscribed to those notifications on, because it's my goal to help you do exactly that. So the topic of today's video is diagnosing a struggling listing with 3 crucial metrics. Your listing might not be struggling per se. You might just be doing okay and you want to improve it. But really, this is how to address any areas of lag in your listing, or it's not performing the way you want it to perform. Now, we're going to be talking about the awareness of the numbers today. I'm not going to talk in detail about how to optimize for all of these, because I did just release a video going through in detail how to optimize an Amazon listing. I've also created a bunch of other optimization videos on the channel too, so I will create a playlist for you and link that for you up here, also down in the description below, and you can watch those for practical implementation of this. But this is more meant to be a short, hopefully, video just giving awareness around the issues and what are the things you need to address. Right, when you go to your GP, you're often there 5 or 10 minutes max, but they will hear about the symptoms, they will diagnose the issue, and then they will send you off to perform some specialist actions. And that is my hope with what we're going to be doing today. All right, so let's get into it. Metric number 1 is impressions. And now an impression is when your product shows up in customer search results. So for instance, a customer searches yoga mat and your product, which hopefully is a yoga mat, shows up in those search results. Now, whether the customer's eyeball actually connects with your listing or not on that page is irrelevant. The fact that it's loaded on that page counts it as an impression. And you'll see this in your PPC reports. Often you will see the metric impressions, and it will show you how many times your ad has loaded on a page. This isn't how many times the customer has actually seen your ad, because it may have been served at the bottom of page 1 and the customer never scrolled to the bottom of page 1, but the very fact that it loaded on the page means it counts as an impression. And now increased impressions come from increased visibility, which comes from keywords, the keywords that go in your listing. Now, to sort of differentiate between keywords and search terms, so you understand them, keywords are what you are putting into Amazon to tell Amazon you want to show for. Search terms are what the customer is actually searching for. So you might put a keyword of yoga mat in your listing, and the customer searches for best yoga mat of 2020, and your listing shows up because of the keyword you've put in, yoga mat, but using the search term that the customer used, which is unique to the customer. So it goes without saying, to increase your impressions, you need to get as many relevant and high traffic keywords into your listing as possible. And this is where I'd recommend using a tool like Helium 10 to do your keyword research with the tool Magnet within Helium 10. Get as many keywords as you can, do a thorough keyword research process, and make sure you're using highly relevant and as much high demand keywords in your listing as you possibly can. Now, in order to measure impressions, there's no organic way you can measure impressions. You can obviously measure your PPC impressions from within your ad campaign reports and looking at the metric there. But when it comes to organic impressions, what you're really looking for actually is keyword ranking. So the best way to know whether you're improving with your impressions or not is to know whether you're improving with your keyword ranking. I would encourage, again, using a tool like Helium 10. You can use their keyword tracker to be able to know where you're ranking at any one time for certain keywords. And if your keyword ranking is trending upwards in terms of you're getting higher ranked for that keyword, then you know that you're getting more impressions, because the very fact that you might be ranked number 1 for a keyword means that every time that keyword is searched, your listing is appearing in position 1, which means it's getting a lot of visibility. And of course, that visibility is linked to the amount of times that search term is searched in a month. So you can broaden your strategy to include as many keywords at varying levels of demand as you possibly can, include as many of those as you can, and watch and see how your keyword ranking grows so that your impressions can grow. So that's the first metric you need to consider. I would recommend tracking some keywords. And if you are ranking high for some keywords, if you do have some visibility for certain relevant, decent search volume keywords, then it's time to move on. Second metric to look at, of course, is clicks. Once you've got the impression, you have to attract the click. If you don't attract the click, then you can't attract the sale. And so I want to talk you through how to do that, right? What attracts the click? Once you've got that impression, once your listing has shown up on the search results, it's going to to be in the midst of a whole bunch of other search results. So how do you attract the click? How does your product attract the click? So what you need to remember is this is all in the context of your competition. For instance, let's take the first one. If you take your main image, and you might think, I've got a great main image, but when it stacks up against your competition, it might not be as good as you think it is. And so it's not about creating what you think is a great main image. It's in the context of your competition, because remember, what we're trying to do with this metric is attract the click. We've got the impression, we've shown up on that search result. Let's say for yoga mat, your product is showing up depending on the category and how Amazon feel that Wednesday morning. You might have 24, you might have 48, you might have 96 different products showing up on that first page. And so your product has to outperform those products to attract the click. And these are the things that are going to impact it. Number one is going to be your main image. Does that main image instantly stop the customer scroll? On mobile, we know that now over 60% of shoppers will start their shopping process on mobile. So on mobile, does it stop them scrolling? Does it cause them to stop and take a look at the listing? Predominantly what people are looking at is going to be your main image. Does it pop? Does it make them stop and think? And then of course you're going to be looking at the title. This isn't necessarily in order of priority or in order people look at it, because different people look for different things, but these are just a general list of the things that do affect this metric. Your title is going to be what's going to affect it. Again, on mobile, you can have up to 80 characters that appear on your listing title. So make sure those first 80 characters are highly optimized, that they're not spammy. Don't keyword stuff, especially in those first 80 keywords. Make sure it's a compelling, clear, and relevant title that's going to attract that click. All we're trying to do at this phase is get them to look at our listing, because the next thing is going to be about the next stage, right? So at this stage, the title is just about attracting that click. The third thing is your price, of course, again, in relation to the competition around you. So you might think you're selling it at a good price. God, this is a steal. This is a great price because I'm paying my supplier this much, so therefore I must be able to charge this much. No, it's about the context of your competition. I'm not saying you need to charge the lowest amount, but is your product worth the price you're charging based on the value you're creating with your image, with your title, with your complete offer that you're offering the customer? And then, of course, it's the reviews that show up. This is a major factor on whether someone is going to click on your listing, is not just the review count, but also the review rating. If you've got 100 reviews, but they're only 3-star, someone that's only got 20 reviews, but they're 5-star is a lot more likely to get the click than you are. So you need to look at the count and also the rating of the reviews, improve those, and you'll improve the amount of clicks you get on your listing. And then finally, it's vouchers, or in the US, these are called coupons. These are the little colored stickers that show up that say 10% off, £2 off, $5 off. You can create those from your Seller Central account. These 100% do improve your click-through rate. So I would encourage you to always consider including a voucher or a coupon on your listing, and then just raising your price that little bit to cover the amount of the voucher or coupon if you need to. So these are the 5 things. These are the only 5 things really that are going to attract the click, because they're the only things that are visible on the search results. That's all the customer sees. They don't see at the moment on Amazon. There's no way to flick through the other images on the main page. There's no way to hover over to see more information about the product. That may change in the future, but as it stands, these are the 5 things that are going to impact the amount of clicks you're getting. So if you're getting some keyword ranking, if you're getting some good keyword ranking, but you're not getting any clicks, you're not getting many sessions on your products, which you can find out, by the way, by going to reports and then business reports, and then going to the individual SKU reports on the left hand side. You can look at how many sessions you're getting per day, and if that number is low or lower than you'd expect or lower than you'd like, then this is the area you need to address. And then finally, the third metric you need to look at is conversions. You've got your impressions, you've got your clicks, and then you've also got your conversions. Now, your conversion is a sale. When someone actually visits your listing, what action do they take? If they buy, it's going to be a conversion. Without conversions, you don't have a business. You need to make sales, right? We're in a money-making business here, and so conversions are absolutely crucial. You can't get a conversion if you haven't had the impression and then the click. So those two are also crucial. These work together, like they're a trinity that need to go hand in hand and work together. You can't have one without the other. You need all 3. But if you have the other 2 and don't have conversions, then you're just wasting your time. You need to have conversions. And so when someone clicks into that listing, the 2 things that things that are really going to impact that or influence conversion. Number one is going to be your messaging. When the customer comes to your listing, they're going to think, do I want this or do I need this? Is there something compelling about this that makes me want to buy this product over the other options that are out there in the market? Now, you're going to create your messaging with your images, your copy, and your A+ content. So it's really important that you work on those images, work on that copy, work on that A+ content to make sure it is as good as it possibly can be, not just high quality, not just containing the right keywords, but having a clear messaging framework. What is the messaging you're trying to create towards your potential customers? Again, I have done a full-length video on this, and you can check it out up here or down here, and hopefully that will help you too. So number one is your messaging, but number two is your social proof. Not only do I want or need this, but actually do others recommend this? Are other people recommending this? And of course, that comes from your reviews and your questions and answers. And so what we need to do in order to grow that social proof, of course, is attract reviews and is attract more questions, or more importantly, answer them in a good way when they do come in. So those are your three metrics: your impressions, your clicks, and your conversions. Again, you can track your conversion rate metric by going into that same report, going to reports, business reports, and then your detail page sales report. And there you're going to see a metric called unit session percentage. That there is the amount of times that a session, which is a unique person coming to your listing, how many times they, how much of a percentage of those visits by unique customers actually turn into paying customers. So that's how to understand your conversion rate. And once you know those numbers, once you have an idea of where you're currently at, that's when it's time to set out and improve. When you have a struggling listing, you can sort of begin to diagnose what's the issue here, what's the blockage. Am I getting enough people to see my listing? If not, work on the areas that I talked about for impressions. Am I getting enough clicks on my listing? If not, work on those areas I talked about for clicks to increase that click-through rate. Am I getting the conversions? Is my conversion rate at least 10% or more? If it's not, then I need to be looking at my messaging and my social proof. Is it clear enough? Is it high quality enough? Does it make sense? Does it appeal to my potential customers? Let me show you, just before we finish, a quick example of how much impact improvement on this can make. I want to inspire you at the end of this video to go away and do something with it. Knowledge is of no use unless you actually take some action with it. So let's look at a little case study just to finish with, a before and after case study. We're going to look at, firstly, impressions. Let's say you've got a product that at the moment is getting 100,000 impressions per month. Now, that might sound like a lot, but it's actually not really a great deal. It's not like crazy high demand, but it's also not very low demand for a product. If you're selling an average product that's doing, between 100 and 200 sales a month, you should be getting around this number of impressions. Again, there is no way to actually know this for sure that I'm aware of. If you know, let me know in the comments below. You can only get this impression data for your PPC ads. So the organic impressions, it's very hard to tell unless you literally go through every keyword you're ranked for, add up the amount of times that search per month. It's just going to get messy. But let's just use this as an example. 100,000. If you can improve that and get 10% increase on your impressions, that's going to lead to some growth, right? But if you can also compound that with an increase in your click-through rate, you're getting more clicks because not only have you worked on your keywords to get more impressions, but you've also worked on your main image and your reviews and your title and your pricing and your vouchers to get some more clicks. Then your click-through rate improves to 2.2%, whereas maybe before it's 2%, which again is relatively healthy. That means you're going to go from 2,000 clicks a month on your listing, or 2,000 visits on your listing, which again, that's fairly reasonable, fairly normal, nothing too high, nothing too low. That's going to increase to 2,420 clicks by just that small 10% change on each of those two metrics. Now, if you combine that with a conversion rate metric increase, if you were initially converting at 10% of each click that came to your listing turned into a sale. So for every 10 people that came to your listing, one of them became a purchaser. If you improve that conversion rate just by 10%, so that's 10% of 10% is obviously 1%, so that becomes 11%. It's a very small change, and you could do way more than this if you really set your mind to it, right? You could do more than this, but I want to show you the power of incremental improvements in these metrics, these three core metrics. And so what you can see there is that there's a difference of 66 sales, 66 more conversions in a month if you just work on each of those three core metrics and improve them by 10%, which, like I said, is not much and is not hard to do if you invest some time and some knowledge into this, right? And so what that is, if you're selling something that's worth £20 a unit, that's an extra £1,320 or $1,320 if you're selling something for $20 a unit every single month. Now, again, that's over £15,000 per year per product with small metric movements. Imagine you doubled those improvements, which again you could do. That's an extra £30,000 or dollars per year per product. Imagine you replicate that across 3 or 4 different products. You can begin to see how just these changes alone can make a 6-figure difference in your business if you apply them correctly. No, don't worry. You don't need to send me a check for 15 grand. You got this for free, right? All I want to see is you implement this stuff, understand what really does move the needle in your business. It creates higher performance in your business, and really go out there and create businesses that are going to impact the world and free you up to live the life you dream of. Hey, if you want to learn more about how to build a business, really dive into these metrics at a deeper level, I do have some more advanced free training, which is called the Brand Builder Bootcamp. You can check that out up here along with any other resources you need. If you need anything else, just comment below. Let me know what questions you have. I'll be more than happy to answer them. If you've liked the video, make sure you hit that thumbs up just so it lets me know that you like this kind of stuff. And if you haven't yet, subscribe with those notifications on, because I'll be back with another video for you real soon.